Hey everyone, we're live. It's Uncensored match build-up time. I'm Paul Machin. Dan Clubb is alongside me, and Chris Pajak is looking to the heavens for inspiration.
I'm so annoyed. Do you know when you go on Twitter and you type in at LFC,
Yeah.
and it's there, and then they throw in the hashtags above it just as your finger goes down to press it? So I ended up on LF Quillet or something instead. Oh no!
LFqueef.com. Brilliant. Be careful. Right, cool. Just before we go to the Klopp press conference, we had a super chat in from Imran Adam. Amy, thank you so much. Says, was my birthday yesterday, so hoping for 3 points as my present from the boys. Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. And also, Dan Clubb, before we do hear from Jurgen Klopp, what have you got to tell people?
I have got to tell people that there is still about 10 minutes time to enter our competition to win one of these absolute beauties. It's right, it's our 2023 Christmas jumper, limited edition, may I add, but we are giving 5 of them away. So if you head to our Twitter account now, the pinned post is that competition. All you've got to do is get there at the Redmen TV and retweet that pinned post. If Joe, can you bring it up on the screen? There it is, my mate. Thank you very much. I mean, look at that. Allison in all his glory. So yeah, get over there, get that retweeted, and I will be doing that draw before we head off for this show. So yeah, you've still got about 10 minutes before I get all the entries together.
There you go. If you want to win a Christmas jumper ahead of time, then get yourself involved with that right now. Right, a few minutes to do that. You can do that while you're listening to Jurgen Klopp give some injury updates ahead of this game.
For him especially, it's annoying. So, had now 2 setbacks in the rehab, not massive, but enough to take him off the pitch again. Obviously not the same injury, not at all, but a bit similar and as annoying as it is for Stefan Bajcetic. So was there, played a few minutes and then felt something else. That's how it is after long-term injuries from time to time. I don't know. I will not put pressure on that. Because I can't anyway. If they will be back after international, we will see that. Hopefully, would be cool. Cody has a good chance that he will be already after brace. Walks normal around here. So from all the very, very bad opportunities and possibilities injury-wise we had, I think he nearly got the best, but is still injured.
Yeah, for context, he was talking about Thiago and Bajcetic at the start there. The Thiago stuff, at this point, he's become a total free hit. I kind of almost forgotten that he plays for Liverpool at this point. At some point, he'll come back and wow us all, or get sold, and that'll be a thing. Timbo Bajcetic, good news about Cody Gakpo, but none of those players will be available for today. I feel like we maybe glossed over this a bit much. Can we just all in the comments wish happy birthday to Imran as well? That'd be absolutely lovely, obvious if you was to do that. Dan Clubb. Mm-hmm. How are we feeling about this one? Brighton, post-traumatic stress syndrome from last season. I have been looking forward to this game because I think it's an interesting test. But yeah, it's hard to escape the fact that they were miles better than Liverpool last season.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It is going to be a test of our credentials, and I look at this as an opportunity to make a statement, not only based on this season, but when you look back at our travails and the difficulty we had down there last year. This was about as low a ebb as it got last season, wasn't it? Really, this fixture. So I actually look at this as an opportunity for Liverpool to go down there and show our teeth, really,
yeah.
and prove that we're better, and we're here to sort of make a dent on this season, whatever that looks like. So albeit there's a little bit of trepidation because, like I say, Brighton's still a very good side. They would argue they've improved on last year. But for me, like I say, for Liverpool perspective, a very sort of selfish point of view, I just look at this and the lads we've got now, albeit a couple of them are missing for today's matchday squad, I look at this as a real opportunity, like I say, for Liverpool to go down there and prove that we're a real deal. And we've come a long way since that.
This is almost the watermark, isn't it, Chris? The benchmark of we think Liverpool are better. We think they've rebooted the midfield. There's more energy, more all the good things that we recognise from a Klopp side that was so absent last season. It's not like beating Brighton means you're then therefore the best team in the league, but yeah, they possessed all the things we lacked last season. If we've got them back, then this will be a good test to know actually where Liverpool are at.
It will be, and obviously the Zerbi's brought in this sort of press baiting, hasn't he? And he absolutely used it against us so well last time out. Obviously, we're less than a month away from them beating Newcastle and then Manchester United back-to-back. They've had a little bit of a stumble. Teams seem to have an idea of how to play against Brighton, I think, more so now. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of footage or videotape on the Zerbi's Brighton last season when we were playing them. So it is massive for Liverpool. Obviously, we think that the midfield is better, exactly as you say. I think that Liverpool are going to be one of the top sides in the league this season, and we need to go out there and prove it against them today.
Absolutely. I've seen the biggest debate on this one. I put a tweet out, I think, probably just after the game in midweek, Dan, said that I thought the midfield would be Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai. We obviously haven't seen McAllister used in the position we supposedly bought him for just yet. So as much as we're kind of pairing over what Liverpool's midfield's been able to do, we might not have even seen the best form of it yet. I think that they're the big decisions. I'm not sure Elliott comes in, but although there is, I think he's been good when he's been given opportunities this season so far. You bring Elliott in, you're moving Szoboszlai, you can put McAllister and you can put Endo straight into the six, but obviously Gravenberch, a couple of assists and a goal in his last few games for Liverpool as well. Even though we're lacking a few key players, there's still some really big decisions to be made by the manager.
Yeah, there are. It's a little bit of a headache, really. If midweek was an audition for that different midfield, which is obviously Elliott, Gravenberch and Endo, I personally would say Gravenberch sort of won that audition. He probably deserves the gig on the back of it, because I think he was absolutely outstanding. He really did.
He deserves
the gig, yeah. He's one of the... No, that's bad. He's one of the few talking points actually from that game. Him and probably Kwanzaa, you'd say. But I thought Gravenberch was brilliant. I really do. And it's interesting because you're right on sort of we haven't seen our midfield at full strength yet, because I think we have been playing McAllister at a position, but I'm not entirely sure Endo being in the six allows us to be at full strength, because I don't think that in terms of personnel that's the best three. I actually believe that maybe Jones / Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai is our best. Now, I really like Harvey Elliott, but most of his impacts in games have been from the bench in recent times. I think he's got a real knack of sort of looking how the game's going and going, I could do this, this, this and this when I come on. And he offers that high energy. He's all over the place, and that's really having an effect.
Yeah.
But from the start, it looks like Endo, because he only gets 45 minutes in the week, and maybe we are sort of thinking, let's give McAllister a nod a bit further up. But for me personally, I would be incredibly tempted to go McAllister 6, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai.
2 questions, Chris, so enough what Dan says there. Is that midweek change one eye on this, or is that solely to do with the balance of how they managed that game in midweek? So what I mean by that is we took the good attacking lads off and put a better midfield on effectively in the second half. And then the question then is Gravenberch or Endo effectively?
Yeah, so I think that obviously if you look at it there, you've got McAllister and you've got Gravenberch. Now, I think to answer the question first and foremost, I thought you took him off because you were thinking about this game. And the reason that I think that Endo might be a better option in there with McAllister further forward is actually this man here, because I think Jota or Cody Gakpo was definitely going to start against Brighton. You know, we've seen Jürgen lean away from Darwin Núñez in most of the away games so far already this season. Why is that? You'd have to ask Jürgen, but for my 2 cents worth, I think it's because you know that you haven't got the backing of the Anfield crowd, and I think in terms of pressing, he's probably the weakest of the 3 players that I've mentioned, Jota and Gakpo being the other 2. So if you know that Brighton are going to play out from the back, before the Marseille game, Josh Williams gave me a great stat actually, which we used on this week's deep dive. They were the only team, Brighton, before the Marseille game, I don't know what happened in the Marseille game, who had never played a long goal kick in Europe's top 5 leagues. Every single one went short from Brighton before the Marseille game. They may have kicked a long goal kick from there, but they are going to try and build out from the back, and that obviously means that your press needs to be brilliant. Leading me back onto why I'm trying to answer the question, because I think with Enzo and McAllister there, if he's maybe your weakest of your pressers, McAllister I think is better than Ryan Gravenberch to help you out. And what we've seen over the last few weeks is that actually Kurt Jones has been the man from this position on this left-sided 8 to lead the press, quite often going past the forward to help press and make it 4 against 4 when they're building out from the back. So I expect one of the midfielders, it to be probably McAllister, to go forwards and press, and I just think that he might be slightly better at that than Gravenberch, who just wants to turn on the ball, play with the ball at his feet, go forwards and attack and stuff like that. So yeah, that all being said, by the way, I like that midfield as well. Like, I think Gravenberch has been absolutely superb, but his natural inclination is to just get on the ball and bomb at goal, and you need that in your team at times, but maybe not in this one. Obviously the biggest thing for me is compared Liverpool to Brighton last season, what the hell are we going to do about Matoma? Like, and I suppose the next question is there a shout for this man who's played really well in Trent Alexander-Arnold's absence to actually get into this side and play ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold? No, but
no.
He's done really well.
Gomez has done really well.
Been brilliant.
He's done really well, apart from in 1v1 dribbling situations when someone's been running at him. I'm sure Pedro Neto would probably be like, yeah, absolutely, play Gomez. It is an interesting call. It made me wonder if Endo wasn't developed enough. If you put Trent in midfield for this game, because of all those things that we've kind of listed. But the McAllister. The Endo Gravenberch thing, Dan, I suspect, in fact, Joe, would you put a poll in the comments actually, just that people choose between the two of them? My sneaking suspicion is people would pick Gravenberch because there's just more to hang your hat on with him from what you've seen so far, and that's not necessarily about a tactical fit that Chris is talking about. More, I think we like to get more of our good players on the pitch, and plus, pace is so important in FIFA, so he
doesn't start, Paul, to be fair.
In terms of balance, I think the best balanced midfield has Endo in it. I think in almost any of our lineups that's probably the case. Certainly for games whereby you're not expected to wholly dominate possession, and I think this is probably one of them. Away from home against a good side, they do like to get it down and play themselves, and will look to sort of try and dictate terms as they possibly can. But I think just in terms of personnel, and this is kind of the point you're making, is I think people will beat Gravenberch because, again, if you're getting your best 11 footballers on the field and not necessarily thinking about the tactical element or the balance, Gravenberch is in that for me personally. He just is, and that's even probably ahead of Curtis Jones, and that's a big thing to say because Curtis Jones has been outstanding. But I think Gravenberch's ceiling is ridiculously high, like just ridiculously high. I think he is like an absolute gem of a footballer who's lost his way a little bit, obviously at Bayern, but we've seen glimpses already in his short Liverpool career. But like I say, I think when you look at what the opposition are going to do and how best to sort of counteract that, I think it's Endo, because I think if you go McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, it could work out absolutely perfectly and you could absolutely dominate proceedings, and just those free-flowing players, those lads who like to be influential in the final third, could have a field day and you just run riot. But going away from that and expecting more of an even game, I think you do want someone of Endo's ilk in that side.
Just before the team comes over, we've got about 2 minutes. Andy Naylor, Brighton pundit, says, a media colleague asked what I think the Brighton team will be. After 44 changes to the starting lineup in 6 games, my reply was no idea. A lot will depend on how players have emerged from the Marseille game for the last match before the international break. Good on you there.
Good to him. We haven't signed McAllister as well, so... Remember that. He was the one all summer saying it's not going to happen. That was that guy. Yeah.
No, he's definitely playing the same 11 that started last time out then against Marseille now.
Yeah. And we had a comment here from Luke Burns, who's been a member for 39 months, says Darwin to put in man of the match. Up the Reds. Also wish Basham all the best after his injury. Yeah, horrible one, that one. So, hopefully he does recover. We're about a minute away from this. Just on the Darwin Núñez thing, it is interesting. The usage of him, I'd not really thought too much about it, Chris, and how and when he'd been used, but it leads me into thinking I think we're playing far more rope-a-dope footy this season than we have done for a while.
Is that why we can see first goal all the time?
Yeah. Well, attempting to, but I think our aim is to go back to letting other teams knock on the door, because we were going toe-to-toe last year with teams that were trying to go toe-to-toe with us and coming out second best. Go on, you got the team?
Yeah,
we got it.
Harvey Elliott.
Wow. Yeah.
We were all wrong.
There you go then. So, team in its entirety, we've got Alisson Becker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joel Matip, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Elliott, Diaz, Salah, Núñez. Subs, you might have to read the subs out for me, Adrian and Gomez. 2 of them.
I'll find them for you, Chris.
Endo and Canate. Nice. Endo.
You did a really good job, though.
Canate. Gravenberch, Chimikas. Gravenberch and Kostas Chimikas.
Chambers, Doak, Quansah.
Chambers, Doak and Quansah. There we go then.
Done. Look at that.
We had all the subs as well for once.
Yeah. Elliott, man. I should have known from his Instagram story.
What was his Instagram?
He posted just like a generic match day, but
with his shirt on.
and they do that.
Handwritten over the top, I'm starting today, Dan.
They do it all the time. They do it all the time, and you think surely it can't keep being a nod towards the fact that they're starting, but apparently it is. And every time it does me, you put like just him sort of centre stage as like a match day graphic, and you think, oh, he's obviously in the squad, so fine. But yeah, there he is.
Well, there we go. We didn't have it on the poll. That's how unlikely it was. 63% of you would have chosen Gravenberch over Endo, so presumably, therefore 0% had Harvey Elliott, including from us. Chris,
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott.
He's sound though, isn't he? That's the kind of point with Harvey Elliott. I suppose the big thing for me with Elliott's inclusion is he knows the system better than anybody else in the midfield who's available to us, because he's been doing it for longer than everybody else in the midfield who's available to us. So you know what you're going to get from Harvey Elliott, and I think that right-hand side with Elliott and Trent and Salah, they've played together so many times that they're able to just click back into place and stuff. Now, it is interesting because obviously I would definitely have put him as the third choice. Like, he didn't enter my mind as a starting player in this game, to be honest with you. So I am quite surprised. But we know that he's going to be able to help out in the press going forwards. We know he's a neat and tidy footballer. I'm assuming it'll be this side.
That's interesting.
Because this is Dom's side now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
And we have seen Elliott use the other side as well.
Yeah.
It's I wondered this sometimes about the balance of stuff of if you're playing two inverted wingers, do you want inverted midfielders effectively behind them? You know, so actually Elliott gives exactly that. Chris, go on, put him back on the board. You can see, Elliott can go round the outside, round the outside.
Yeah, okay,
As an
and
option.
Tom's like can do it with Salah, 'cause obviously he plays
Yeah, of course,
wing
like this.
a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just round the outside,
Yeah, all of that. A bit of a mixed bag in terms of the reaction to the Elliott thing. Shekel here, I know, believe it or not, the internet, says it feels like because Klopp can't change the offensive qualities up front, he's keeping Gravenberch on the bench for a later game power offensive sub. All great words. Perhaps lacking a comma in there somewhere, but I like the general gist of it. Yeah.
Right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there isn't anyone else on the bench, really. I mean, obviously, you've got Ben Doak and stuff like that. They're your two major attacking threats from the bench, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that... Then it would have been better keeping Endo in the starting 11 rather, to have Elliott as part of the attacking option.
Well, that was what we were when we were talking through this before going on air. We were all said, well, it'll definitely be Endo starters one, and here's why: because you're better off having Endo play 60 minutes and then go a bit more. But yeah, he's gone with the Elliott stuff. Ambient, obviously being a really good, kind understanding Liverpool fan, but not Elliott again. And Freedom Journey says thought Elliott was poor versus Union. I thought it was his weakest game for us, which I think is interesting to say that off the back of that. So there must be more a player. And we forget sometimes that, of course, we're not just playing a 90-minute football match, we're playing 100-odd minutes worth of football match. And there might be more to what we're talking about is, they're trying to be careful with Gravenberch. Elliott, I would suspect, hasn't got lots of minutes in the tank. He played a lot on Thursday.
He played all 90 on Thursday.
He did, yeah.
That makes it even more interesting, doesn't it?
It really does. Unless there's just there's just something that he's seen that works specifically for Brighton. I really, really don't know. Or again, one thing we always forget about as well, we've mentioned it, but so we know they played midweek, but we always forget that when Liverpool play another team that played Europe in the week, we back ourselves to allow our lads to play. More lads to play again, if that makes sense, and maybe that's part and parcel of it, really.
Yeah, I think in terms of sort of exertion in the week, like even though Elliott does play all 90, it wasn't exactly the hardest 90 minutes in terms of what he has to put into it. He'll probably ever have to do, and the same goes for a lot of the lads. And I think Brighton's test was a bit sterner. I think it's fair to say it's come from 2-0 down, I think, as well in Marseille to get a draw out of it, and they really did go until the very last minute because their kick-off was earlier now, so we got to watch the back end of that while I was in here. So yeah, I don't think I have any sort of fitness concerns about it, but normally there is a big sort of a bit of a suggestion in the week when you're playing at the weekend about who he takes off, and obviously brings Endo off at half-time, Gravenberch not long after, and Elliott stays on the 90, so automatically you just assume that Elliott is third in that particular pecking order, but as it turns out, he's starting, and like you say, whether he's seen something in the way he plays, whether it is the inversion thing, I personally, just to sort of touch on, I would have them the other way round from the board. I'd be going Elliott in his more natural side, and Szoboszlai on the opposite, because I just think it suits more naturally, and Szoboszlai's been brilliant, but I actually expected him to be over the other side when he came into the club, to be honest. So it's interesting, but I don't really like Harvey Elliott, so I'm absolutely fine with it. There was no bad choice here, but this was the most surprising one.
Yeah, I agree.
And sorry, Paul, just quickly, I mentioned before about Jones is the one that leads the press. Elliott is a bit of a pressing monster as well, so maybe that has something in it. Like I mentioned that, I'd rather have McAllister than Gravenberch, but actually if you say who of the three of them have been the better presser at Liverpool, well, I've seen more evidence of Harvey Elliott being able to do it than either of the other two.
Yeah, and we come back to it. Klopp was speaking about McAllister in his press conference, and he was talking about, he's good in that position when everyone else really pulls their weight and really defends, and that's one thing. Elliott's quite tireless in how he does stuff. Just interesting on the Brighton. We'll come to the Brighton team in a second, but the lineup, it feeds into the tweet we looked at before. The lineup for the team that lost 6-1 to Aston Villa. Back four was a Stupinian, Dunk, Webster, Veltman, Billy Gilmore and Hinchelwood in front, Matoma, Welbeck, March, and then Evan Ferguson leading the line. The game against Marseille in the week, it was Lamptey left back, Dunk, Van Hecker, Veltman across the back, Dahoud and Gross as the two-man midfield, and then Matoma, Ansu Fati and Solly March behind Danny Welbeck. And the team for today is here. It's Pascal Gross,
left back.
Yeah.
So he's inverting. He'll go in. Go in to make a box midfield.
Igor, Julio, Lewis Dunk, and Veltman, with Carlos Baleba and Solly March in the midfield. Matoma, João Pedro. I've not heard of half of these players. Dingra and then Evan Ferguson leading the line.
Yeah,
so they've gone for wild changes in the last 7 days, like completely, almost like 3 different 11s, with the exception of a couple of real stalwarts in there, being particularly Matoma. Looks like the go-to guy there. So they'll be fresh.
It's a really young average 11. According to SofaScore, it's like 25.6, which is crazy young for a side as well. Ours, for context, is 27.3. That is really young, 25.
Right. No James Milner ramping that up either there for about 31 if he was even in the squad. So. But they have lost a few players. We mentioned sort of the change. I think a lot of them are enforced because Lamptey's injured. Estepinian as well got injured on the back of the Marseille game. So I think it is a little bit. I mean, the Gross left back thing is interesting, and you're probably right. It probably have to be inverted, but he is a million miles removed from being a left back.
And I wonder whether that's a Szoboszlai, whether that's another reason why you put Szoboszlai, keep Szoboszlai on the right, and put Elliott on the left, because you want to target that space. People always talk about targeting the space behind Trent. Well, target their space. You know what I mean? Why are we the only ones who can get targeted? Target away in return, Liverpool. I'm pleased with that 11. I am. Again, the question mark will be over the Elliott thing, of course. But Ollie Cos here says, why don't people like Elliott? Because there's always got to be a player that people have an issue with at any given time. It's not possible for all of Liverpool's fans to just shut up and like all of our players. Because I think that people have got space in their lives for hate. And they've got to have someone who's their favourite player, and therefore you've got to have someone who's your least favourite player. And
might I suggest supporting the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL then, because that takes all of my hatred.
Yeah.
They're shit, and I hate them, and I support them.
Yeah.
And it means that I'm free to like all of the Liverpool players.
As we should do, really. Good on us. Right, okay, do you want to
yes, I'm all set up for the draw. I'll just press begin draw now. We have 587 entries. That's all the people who reposted / retweeted and followed us.
You won't let that go, will you?
No, I'm not letting that go. I'll press begin draw, and then we should have 5 winners if all goes well. I just press it, Joe, and then there we go. There are 5 winners. Would you look at that? Dara Hayes, Taylor Biggs, Krug Meister, Sharon, Fremantle and Gilly. I'll get them on the board, and I will be in touch in the next few hours to get some details off you guys. Well done, congratulations. You are winning one of these absolute beauties. And if you didn't win, you can still go over to redmenmerch.com and get one yourself. Why not?
What Dan said, perfectly. Well done. Yeah, get yourself prepped for Christmas. Very, very limited edition. So yeah, if you don't get one soon, you won't get one at all. And we have it every year when people come to us in December and go, oh, but I didn't realise until lead times, production
That's
times.
the email we replied. Soz.
E-commerce 101, that. Oh, lucky la. Right,
in your face, knobhead.
Yeah, do move quickly. I know it's October, but yeah, early bird gets the
It's also
worm.
just been payday.
Yeah, exactly. Right, sound. Drop a like on this video and stream if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check back with us. The game is a 2 o'clock kickoff. We'll be back at 1:45 to begin the match watch along with Chris and myself. Other than that, thank you so much to Dan. Thank you so much to you. And thank you so much to Chris Page. Give everyone a wave, Chris. Oh, God. No. Just no. Right, bye. Bye. Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Redmen content, be it podcasts, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.